Intro: The lie of diversification. You've been told this your whole life. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Your financial advisor says it. Your banker says it. Even your parents might have said it. But what if I told you that the world's richest people did the exact opposite? Warren Buffett didn't diversify when he bought Coca-Cola. Elon Musk didn't diversify when he poured everything into Tesla and SpaceX. Steve Jobs didn't diversify when he focused Apple on just a handful of revolutionary products. The truth is, diversification protects the poor, not enriches the rich. It's a strategy for those who don't want to think deeply, who want safety instead of mastery. And today, I want to expose the lie of diversification, why it limits your growth, dilutes your conviction, and quietly kills your wealth potential. Welcome back to Wealth Alchemy, the channel that turns everyday knowledge into golden opportunities. Let's uncover why diversification might just be the biggest myth in modern finance. Part 1. The origin of the diversification myth. To understand why everyone preaches diversification, we need to go back to where it began, 1952. That year, economist Harry Markowitz introduced something called modern portfolio theory. It was a revolutionary idea at the time that you could reduce your investment risk by holding many different assets. It worked beautifully for institutions, for pension funds, banks, and insurance companies managing billions of dollars. But somewhere along the way, Wall Street sold this idea to the average investor. They turned a professional risk management tool into a personal wealth-building strategy. And that's where the myth began. Warren Buffett once said, "Diversification is protection against ignorance. It makes very little sense for those who know what they're doing." When you diversify too early, you're saying, "I don't know what I'm doing, so I'll spread my bets and hope something works." That's not strategy. That's fear disguised as wisdom. Part 2. Focus builds fortune. Let's look at how real fortunes are built. Elon Musk didn't spread his wealth across 50 startups. He doubled down on 2, Tesla and SpaceX, and risked everything, even borrowing money to pay rent. Steve Jobs returned to Apple and killed almost every product except a few core ones, the Mac, the iPod, and eventually the iPhone. Jeff Bezos focused Amazon entirely on books before expanding. He mastered one category so well that he owned it, and only then did he scale. Charlie Munger, Buffett's lifelong partner, said, "The wise man bets heavily when the world offers him a great opportunity. He doesn't bet or diversify away his edge." Focus builds mastery. Mastery builds wealth. Wealth builds freedom. When you concentrate, you build depth, and depth always beats breadth in the long run. Part 3. The danger of over-diversification. Now, let's talk about the trap most investors fall into. Over-diversification. They buy 20, 30, 50 different stocks. They hold real estate, mutual funds, ETFs, gold, crypto, and maybe even some collectibles, because someone told them that's safe. But here's the truth. You can't be an expert in 50 things. When the market crashes, you won't know which one to hold, which one to sell, or which one to double down on. You'll freeze, because you don't truly understand any of them deeply enough. In 2020, during the market panic, many investors sold their best assets out of fear. Not because the assets were bad, but because they didn't understand what they owned. Over-diversification gives you the illusion of safety, but in reality, it's just confusion spread wide. And worst of all, many diversified portfolios aren't even diversified. You think you own 10 ETFs, but they all hold the same tech stocks. That's not diversification, that's duplication. Part 4. Smart concentration strategy. So what should you do instead? You don't throw diversification completely away, you sequence it. First, you focus to build wealth. Then you diversify to protect wealth. This is the difference between the wealthy and the worried. When you're still in the wealth-building phase, your goal is to identify your circle of competence, the area where you understand the game better than most. That could be real estate, business, investing, crypto, or content creation. Inside that circle, you concentrate your time, energy, and capital. Because that's where you have an edge. Power law thinking tells us this: 80% of your results will come from 20% of your actions. And in investing, 80% of your wealth will likely come from just one or two great bets. Here's how a smart concentration strategy could look. 60% of your resources focused on your core skill or business, the area you truly understand. 20% in cash or short-term liquidity for flexibility. 20% in defensive or alternative assets, like real estate or precious metals. You're still diversified enough to survive, but concentrated enough to win big. Part 5, 2200 to 2600. Real diversification income streams. Now here's a secret that most people never learn. True diversification isn't about assets. It's about income streams. You don't need 50 stocks. You need multiple engines of cash flow. Here's what real diversification looks like. Your core engine, your business or career income. Cash flow assets, rental property, dividend stocks, or online royalties. Growth bets, focused plays like crypto, startups, or high-growth equities. Side hustles, digital content, e-commerce, or consulting. Each one can survive on its own. Each one grows differently. And together, they create true financial resilience. This is the Wealth Alchemy model. You don't scatter gold dust, you build furnaces that produce gold again and again. Ending. The Wealth Alchemy mindset. So here's the truth. The poor diversify to survive. The rich concentrate to grow. Diversification is not a bad thing. It's just the wrong starting point for those still building wealth. Focus creates power. Power creates wealth. And once you have wealth, then you diversify to preserve it. So the question isn't, how can I diversify? It's, what do I understand deeply enough to bet big on? Remember, wealth isn't built by spreading your efforts thin. It's built by pouring your energy into one thing until it becomes gold. Because in the end, alchemy isn't about owning many metals. It's about transforming one with focus, conviction, and courage. This is Wealth Alchemy, turning focus into fortune. If this message resonates with you, hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who still believes in the diversification myth. Because the moment you stop chasing safety, you start chasing greatness.